Morning, everyone. My name is Shiva. Thank you all for joining in. So let me take you through this entire thing on understanding the financial modeling and equity valuation program. So start with this entire few set of things where I'll be talking about what is financial modeling and the different kinds of model. Then the skill set that is required for building up a good financial model. And at the end of this entire thing, I'll take you what we are going to cover up in our financial modeling equity valuation program at RVMFinishingschool. So let's start with the term model. And we'll keep it very, very simple for everyone to understand the thing because we come from different backgrounds. So let's understand what is the word model. Whenever we see the word model in the English term or basically derived from a Latin word modulus, which means patterns or forms. So in simple terms, when we say model, remember I'm using the word model, not the financial model. So these models are basically a description of a situation or an objective that you have to work across. For example, when you are looking into Google Maps, so you put your destination and Google is trying to model up the thing, how will you reach there, and gives you a tentative time running into it. So those things are basically your models. Now, when we talk about financial model, the word changes a little. So here what we are working on financials of the company, and we are putting it in a form where we can do the analysis on the same. So till the analysis part, everything remains the same. And then the objective of the model comes, wherein we define that moves into defining different kinds of model that we have. So let's start defining the word financial model. So in simple terms, we can say financial model is a spreadsheet. Why I'm using a spreadsheet or Excel? Because most of the time we are building it on Excel. Now, this is not the only way to build up. You can look into other programming language to build this model, but they're not that simple and straightforward. So in most of the investment bank, we look into building these into Excel. So financial modeling, when we say, is basically a Excel, which has an input sheet, output sheet, and is dynamic in nature. So when we say input sheet, where we are inputting the entire data, output is what we are desired to get out of that building of that model. So that basically is a financial model. So it's basically a description of financial situation of a company, which we pick up from different sources, which is company or annual report, put them back into Excel for analysis purpose and do the analysis on the same. And that is how we define a financial model. So here the situation is financials of the company, and we are trying to describe the financials and do analysis on it. So in short, we can say they are description of financials of the company, and we can utilize them to get insights into different things, which could be their ratios, which in the form of liquidity, solvency, profitability, or we can do the forecasting, and then the forecasting can be utilized for different purposes. It could be doing the equity valuation or moving into M&A model or a replacement of project in form of NPV, IRR. So they all make the part of financial models. So most of the models are, as we discussed earlier, most of the models are built using Excel, and MS Excel becomes one of the most important things that we should be understanding. So if we want to describe this entire model in one term, we can say these are basically financial things which we use to make a decision. So they help us out in making the decisions. Now, decisions could be into different forms, could be equity valuation, your project planning, a credit monitoring, or loans for the company in form of CMA reports that we are building, adding a stock to the portfolio, or looking into mergers and acquisitions, trying to derive the intrinsic value of the company. So these decisions could be different. And based on that decision, we talk about that financial model for equity valuation or project planning or portfolio inclusions or mergers and acquisitions. That is how we define different kinds of models. We go deep into it when we are starting with our program. Just wanted to give you an overview of what kind of models and how these models come into picture. Now, before we move into the modeling part, which is the number part, one question I always ask people or my students, are financial modeling only numbers? Are they just numbers that we are building in Excel? The simple answer is no. They are more than that. If you do not understand the dynamics of how a company is working, what are the revenue sources, what are the other drivers, who is running the firm, and start understanding the qualitative side of it. Then you are only populating numbers, you are not doing analysis on the same. So in that cases, we say when you're building a financial model, you should always start on the qualitative side. Now, qualitative side could be different for different things, but there are some things which are very generic in nature. So when we talk about this, we should be working upon story behind the numbers. Whatever we are building, how are these numbers and which company is populating? So when we talk about qualitative side, we should be looking into building company profilers, understanding the business model. If we are doing into equity valuation, without understanding the model or the business model of the company, it is very difficult to project the numbers. So to understand this entire thing, you should start always with the qualitative side. And that is where we make our company profilers and make the presentations. I'll show you all of them. And the second part could be the financial spreading. Now, why do we do this financial spreading and what do I mean by this? Putting these numbers back into Excel. Now, remember, when we look into 10K or annual report, or a quarter report, these numbers are made for taxation purpose. So we, as an analyst, might need to tweak some settings up and down to create something which is either standard, which a company normally uses as template, or we like to show them the other things running in. Remember, we cannot change the part and other things. Whatever changes we make at the end, the numbers should match up with the numbers which are provided in our annual report. And in the financial spreading, there is no assumption that should come in. The numbers are already there. We should read with their schedulers. So what runs in here, this is the part of spreading. We should do some historical analysis in the form of ratios. You can also add averages from the competition. Then we'll move into projections, valuation, and finish up with a financial report, which would normally is in the form of PowerPoint or a Word report. We do not give our models, the entire models to clients normally, unless and until the agreement says that and you are working on sell side of financial modeling. We normally provide them with the reports. So reports normally come in the form of PowerPoint or in the form of Word. Now, let's quick fire go into what we are covering up in the financial modeling and the valuation program at RVM. Now, what I have done in the part one was the overview of entire what financial modeling is, why we are building the model and how the entire thing runs and types of models. So here we'll see what is required and what we are covering it. So let's go into FMEV program. So here our objective is to build a financial model and do the valuation for the equity. So the program is basically divided into three core elements. Element one, the essential skills for modeling. For you who come from the same background, it could be a revision of the entire thing that they've studied in their grads or postgrads. People who have not been into studies or working for quite some time might not remember this. So this essential skills will help you out in getting the core of this modeling to start off with it. So we'll start with accounting for modeling, where we'll talk about what accounting things are coming in and how we utilize those accounting things. For example, your concepts and conventions. So we might have heard of them and then we'll revise them and see how they are used in the real time. Then Excel for financial analysis. How do we utilize MS Excel for doing the financial analysis, which includes the depreciation methods, which are inbuilt methods in Excel, the entire time value of money or interest schedulers and things. If you have to make, we can utilize MS Excel to do the entire thing. Then on the presentation skills. On the presentation skills, you will be working or will be together working on building a company profile in PowerPoint and the valuation report into Excel. So this is how this entire thing runs. Along with that, we'll have a daily news discussion. Now, you cannot do projections by just looking at historical numbers. So projections are basically historical numbers combined with the current situation. So how do we know about what is running in and around and the impact of economic and industry variables on our valuation? So for this, we'll do a daily news discussion. To understand this, you will get an access, 3-month access for a financial newspaper. We have tie up with Business Standard, so you get that entire thing running here. And it is not that the subscription is only given. You all will get one news every day to give your viewpoint. How do you think about the entire part? So this is how we'll run on the essential skills. So they run for the first 2 weeks if you're coming regular. So or on the weekends, the first 2 weekends are getting this essential skills for modeling running in. Once you get your hands on Excel, you understand how the accounting works and the concept of accounting converted into reporting. So we normally are sitting on the financial reporting side. The numbers are already reported to us, and we do the analysis on the same. So to read those numbers, we need to understand accounting. Putting them back into Excel, we need to know MS Excel. Then we need to present them. So we should understand the PowerPoint and your word skills, and then the things which are happening in and around us in the form of daily news discussion. Part two is building the financial model. So here I'll take you a little more into it in the coming slides. So we will be talking about story of numbers, which is building up your company profilers. We'll spread the financial statements into Excel. Then we'll move into the projection, defining the projection variables, and then on the part of equity valuation, where we'll try and find the intrinsic value of equity by using DCF and the relative valuation. Then the final part is a presentation while building the company dashboard, finalizing the company profiler, ending up with the valuation report. So whatever we have studied in the essential skills, now you will be applying them on the real-time data. So here, how will this happen? I will be working on one company, which would be the base company for all of us. So all of you would be working on one company along with me, and then you're free to pick up your industry and your company. We are open to Indian market, US market, or if some of you have joined in from different parts of the globe. So based on what economy or what country that you are sitting in, you can pick a company from that place. And then you can do the entire analysis. We'll help you out in understanding the concept that run in your own economy. So that way, you can build up models which are there or which are very relevant to the job market that you're in. So normally what we run up here, we pick up one company for US GAAP and one company for IFRS. So India and US are the base companies that we look into here. You can, pick up your own company and industry. Now, to understand the industry, there will be doing a generic thing running. And then for each of these industries, there are key parameters. So we'll make a list of those key parameters. We'll help you out in getting around 14 industries key parameters which you can have a look on and then implement on your own models. So we are trying to build, so in short, we are trying to build up a model which is platform independent and industry independent. Getting the core concepts is the core of this entire program. You should understand the core on which this entire thing has been built up. Then based on different companies, different countries which follow accounting standards, you can make changes running to your model. But the core will remain the same. And to understand the core, we are looking at US GAAP and IFRS. So this is how the entire program layout is. Let's go a little more into it to understand what we are covering in each one of them. We'll start about with the reading of the company, the story of numbers, know about the management, the key drivers of the business, and we'll be reading at least. I have used the word at least because some people find it difficult to read those numbers, but we'll make sure that we read at least 1 year annual report, the latest quarter data, and if there is any management interview or transcript available for the last financials, we'll go through the entire thing. That will help us out in understanding what this company is working on. We'll follow the company's latest news and update, and we'll keep a very close eye on the development which are happening on the economy industry, including the company during the time of valuation if the new numbers are coming in. So, for example, we have TCS result coming, we have 2 days back, and then Infi result coming. So these are heavyweights in IT industry. They give you an idea on what is overall mood which is running in the market. So how those things can help us out in valuing a third company. That is what we'll try and understanding it. Then we'll be moving into spreading part, as we were discussed before. We'll build a financial statement, create the ratios, define driver for revenue and cost. Then we'll move into projections. And when we talk about projecting the financials, we need to understand the drivers which are running for business. and what impacts our business or the company that I'm looking into. So we'll see statistical methods as well as methods like regression analysis. We'll be doing all of this. Once I finish this, I'll just take you to the class model which is running right now. And then we'll project the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. We'll check for balancing and the linking of the model, where the entire model is linked or not, or if it is the entire thing is balancing. And then the last part would be our valuations. So valuation, we'll talk about two methods of valuation, the relative and the DCF, ending up with financial dashboard and valuation reports. So this is a walkthrough on this entire model. Let me just take you through a model which we are working here. So this is the class model which is yet to finish. The last part is only remaining. Most of the things have been worked upon. So let's start with the income statement. So this is for Apple. We'll first work on the initial statements, which is the historical numbers, 3 years or 5 years, whatever you want to put in here. Then project them for the remaining 3 years. Now the projection can be extended with using the same variables. We look forward for 3 years, because we have seen that the global markets have a 4-year cycle running in. So every fourth or fifth year, we have something coming up. So we have projected for 3 years for the foreseeable future. Then same thing will happen for the balance sheet. We'll club it with the theoretical part first. We will understand the theory, and then only we are going to come into building up the same. Then with the cash flow statement, making the entire thing understanding and making this entire part. Then we'll go to understand the capital structure, how the company is financing its business in the form of debt and equity, and what is the cost that they are working, including the beta calculations and the cost of capital. Then we'll move into the ratio analysis. I'll zoom it a bit. We'll talk about the entire ratios, and we'll start writing why something has happened, because ratios in general will talk what has happened historically. They do not talk why something has happened. For example, if you look at here, the current ratios decreased from 1.36 to 0.88. We'll try and understand why the same has happened, why this has been decreasing, and then we do make a comparison with the industry. Is it an industry-wide phenomena, or only my company is having this trouble? So which will give us understanding of something which, on a broader perspective. So since I have already done this, I can just let you know on this. This is because in the balance sheet, the cash equivalents are decreasing and marketable securities are running. This data can be easily taken from 10K. If you, after the class, if you look into the 10K for Apple, you will find this entire part running. This is basically the first part, which is your spreading. The second part is on the projection. Before we move into the projection part, you should have a good understanding of the business drivers for the firm. So we'll come into the projections, and we'll be talking about different methods. This is basically Excel view of projection. We'll move into the different methods of projection, and we'll try and figure out what suits here. This is basically your XY scattered plot to understand whether we can utilize the statistical methods on this form or not. We'll talk about all of this when we are going into model. The idea is to give you an overview of how we are looking at it. Then we'll also be moving into the regression analysis. This is basically, in other terms, we can say the impact of inflation and GDP on the sales part. So how my sales is related to inflation and GDP, and we'll do this entire regression analysis. The data that you see here is from IMF. So we'll be looking at a lot of global databases while we're working. For Indian companies, we'll also look at MOSPI, RBI to get our live data. Once we have finished on the projection and decided on this, we'll project the ISBS and CFS, and we'll move into our valuation. So this is the latest one which we have just finished up inside the class. So we'll talk about the valuation methods of price multiples in the form of P by BV, P by S, P by CFO, and we'll also talk about other multiples. In sense, if you come across something like EV by ton that you see mostly into cement companies, how do we utilize that? So these are the general things that we calculate. Then apart from this, industry specific, we'll be talking about the industry specific numbers that also come in. So here we'll be talking about the entire intrinsic values. Then we'll move into the enterprise value method. Same, the part of relative valuation. We'll talk about EV by EBIT, EV by sales, or EV by CFO. This EV by EBIT, you can also see the method which is EBDITA. He'll help you in calculating all of it. Then that's a beta calculation. We'll move into discounting of cash flows at the end. And this can be done only once we have finished up the entire projections. We'll come and try and build the DCF analysis and trying to find the intrinsic value of the security utilizing your DCF, including your sensitivity table. So if the projection variables change or if my assumption changes at certain place, what would be the impact on my stock value, on the intrinsic value of stock going forward? So for that, we'll be doing our sensitivity table analysis. Last part would be price normalization, where we try and fix up our target price in the form of resistance, support, and resistance. We'll be utilizing a part of technical analysis coming in here to help you out with this entire part. So this is how the entire part of the modeling runs, where we talk about putting those numbers, projecting those numbers, and moving into the valuation side of it. Coming back to our presentation. So the idea was to just give you a little insight into how this entire thing happened. For if you want to have a look on the company profilers, I'll suggest please do follow us on our blog. And you go to the blog, you'll have this finance part and this your company profilers. Here you will have market reports, which will help you out in understanding. And this is Indian market briefs. So when you go to company profilers, you'll find profilers which are made by students. You can have a look on the work that they have done. And for every batch, the top three or top two or three comes in here, and we just keep on removing and putting them with the latest one. You can click on any one of them to understand. I'll suggest if you have time, you can just subscribe to the blog so that you can keep getting the updates at your end. You can just have a look on this entire thing. So it will have your name and it will also have who has made the entire part. Then when you move into the next part, let's go back once and show you the market brief. So in the market brief, you will get the quarter results. There's some more results coming in here. You can come here and read about the results and our view on the entire part. The last weekend would be coming in here, so you can just look into it. You click on the report and you can view the entire market briefs. Same way, you can look into the finance report and click on any one of them to understand what we are doing inside the class. Ankita will be helping you out in this entire PowerPoint presentations. She's co-founder for the firm and she looks into this entire part. So my suggestion would be you go in here and have a look on yourself, what is being covered, what is being done. So that way you will get an idea on this entire part. On the presentation part. Remember, presentations are very, very important in modeling. It's not about numbers. It is about you making the report. So from end to end, you can handle everything. And we also have an optional model, which is the fee is, apart from our financial modeling fee. That's an optional model, which is SQL for financial data analysis. We have a separate team for data analysis part, especially for finance, where we have SQL and Python also for finance. But we are, this is something that is coming in the market since a financial model has to deal with different databases. So basics of the SQL is what is the requirement that you should always learn. If you have time and think, these classes will happen only on the weekend. For regular guys who are listening to it, this SQL will happen only on the weekends. And we'll help you out in, queries, running the entire thing and handling something that comes to you in the form of SQL, modifying queries, joining the databases. All of things will come in here. Coming to the notes and support, which is one of the most important thing that you will look forward to. So your class notes are shared on the real time. We use OneNote, so that will be shared with you. You will get a pre-recording for people who come from different backgrounds. We have BTechs also, people who have worked for 5-7 years currently in the session. If you don't remember certain parts, which means you might have worked on databases, but you have specifically not worked on Excel, or you don't remember much of a finance running. Then apart from what we are doing class, to give you a head start, we have a MS Excel recorded thing, and we also have a finance for revision. The basics of entire finance, the theoretical part is given to you. You will be building a model, as I have discussed with me, and then you can pick up your company and sector of your choice. You will have one-on-one guidance, so batch size is not more than 8 any given point in time, so that we are 2 mentors running in here, me and head, so you have 1:4 kind of a ratio running. And for your companies, we'll sit one-on-one. You would be presenting those models at the end of your analysis. We want you to make us understand why you have some views on your company. Then you will have subscription to financial paper. You have support via email and phone. You will have your periodic test and Q&A. So let me show you how your file runs. So let me show you a note file. This is the same batch that we were talking about. Here you will have the accounting for finance and all those things coming in. So you will have analyzing and collecting financial data. The class working is the scribbling that I do because in financial world, there are a lot of things that keep adding one. So we talk about this entire thing running in here. Then you will all have your theory reporting to financial things, your income statement, all the theory that we are going to discuss, you will have an access to it. So anything that you don't remember or you have not worked on, you can always go back to theory. We also will have something where things to remember, what you should remember while you're working in it. So this entire thing will be worked upon. So this file will be there for you. You can open it in your mobile or you can open it on your desktop or laptops, whatever medium that you're using. And you don't have to wait for me to, come back and give you this thing. The entire thing will be updated on the real time. You just have to go and open it as soon as you reach your place and read the entire thing. Any new things that are coming, we'll keep adding into the same file. Same thing happens with Excel. If you look at this Excel, this is a web saved Excel. So you will be having the entire Excel on your end. So as soon as I finish something, you have to go and refer. You can always open the link and get it done. So we have made this thing a little dynamic in nature so that you and me are on the same place. So this is how we look into your notes, files, and support. So this is what I have to help you out on the modeling side. I'll do is we'll then open for Q and A's. We have just kept it so that I can finish up the entire thing. Post the session, if you are having any doubts or something, you can always give us a call and we can discuss it one-on-one. Since this group of people have come in, so you can make notes of your things. Anything that you have, you can just keep us updated. And I'll open this channel for Q and A's. So you can just keep asking me any doubts and things related to your career and things. If you're looking for placements also, we have a separate placement cell running into it. You can always speak to Ankita on this. She heads the entire cell on HR and data science. So thank you all for joining in. I'll be opening